Hey guys, it's Generic Joe, and let's talk about the Fire Emblem Direct. So last night, Nintendo had a Of course they'd have a Nintendo Direct. Why would they have a Microsoft Direct? For Fire Emblem, exclusively for Fire Emblem. It was about 20 minutes, I believe. And it covered 4 Fire Emblem games. 4! So I'm here to kind of briefly give my thoughts on each of them. And I didn't expect to be making this video, but there's a lot more to cover than I thought. So I'll try and keep this brief. I know the last discussion was an hour long, so let's go ahead and start with the first thing that they showed in the trailer, which is Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, I think that's what it's called. Basically, it's a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden, which is the second Fire Emblem game, and it's on the 3DS. Why is it on the 3DS? Why? Like, is there any legitimate reason why it's on the 3DS? Any reason at all? You have a brand new system, which is also portable, and has better processing power than the 3DS. And the ability to read Amiibo. And you choose the 3DS! What the hell's wrong with you? Okay, maybe they were developing the game. Most likely they were developing the game before the Switch came around. So if that's the case, I guess I can understand. But in all seriousness, though, the game, like I said, is a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden, and it includes full 3D graphics for the most part, but it does have some 2D animated cutscenes, which look really nice. And the game overall looks really good, and I was never really into a lot of the older Fire Emblem games, mostly because they were never brought to the States. The only older one I was interested in was the one for GBA, the first one, just called Fire Emblem, that was released in the States. The one with like Lyn and Roy and those characters. So, yeah. The fact that they're doing a full remake like this is pretty cool, and I might consider picking it up. Although I don't even have Awakening or Fates yet, so we'll see if I end up keeping that promise. Alright, next up they discussed the Fire Emblem mobile game. And that's actually two things that people were expecting in this Direct was the Fire Emblem mobile game, which, like I just said, we got, and information on Fire Emblem Warriors. We did get some information on Fire Emblem Warriors, but from what I could tell, most of the Direct, I didn't watch the entire thing. Well, okay. Technically, I did watch the entire thing, but most of it focused on Fire Emblem Heroes, which is the mobile game, and they revealed a lot of information for it because it's coming out February 2nd. That's right. That's about, not even 2 weeks away? Actually, hold on. How long away is that? Okay, just over 2 weeks. Never mind. Actually, today it's exactly 2 weeks, but anyways, they've covered a lot of information for Fire Emblem Heroes, and unlike Super Mario Run, where it was an automatic runner and you just tap to jump, or Pokemon Go, where you go around and find Pokemon by actually walking around in the real world, this is, out of the mobile games that we have so far from Nintendo, which, it's only 2, that's not really a fair comparison, but still, out of the mobile games we have from Nintendo, this, I'd say, is the most accurate and faithful to the original source material, because it pretty much takes Fire Emblem maps, legitimate Fire Emblem maps, takes portions of them, or takes the entire map and shrinks it down to a 6x8 perspective so it can fit on a smartphone, and pretty much plays just like the Fire Emblem games. And the idea of the game is that 2 kingdoms are going to war. What else is new? It's Fire Emblem. What do you expect? But, I don't know if it's something with time or what. They didn't really explain that too well in the Direct. Maybe they will when the game comes out. But basically, I think something time-related happened, and a bunch of heroes from the past, from, all the way back from the first game to the most recent games, they're joined together, and you, as a summoner, Okay, don't know if you could hear that, but... Anyways. So, you as a summoner have to recruit these Fire Emblem characters, the beloved and not so beloved, into your team to try and stop this war. So, it's a little bit of a twist on the standard Fire Emblem plot of two kingdoms fighting each other, but still, two kingdoms fighting each other. You know, standard Fire Emblem stuff. So, that actually looks pretty interesting. And if you're wondering, there are microtransactions. As you battle throughout the game, you'll get these orbs, and you can use the orbs to summon previous Fire Emblem characters. And you can pay real money to get more of them. But, for the looks of the game, it doesn't look like you'll have to use microtransactions too often. Unless you get stuck on an area, you're on a battle and you can't beat it, and you feel like you need an extra character or two to beat that battle, and you don't have enough orbs to summon a character. But one of the nice things that I noticed is, or that they mentioned in the Direct, the more characters you summon, the less orbs you'll have to use when you summon characters in the future. So, for example, if it takes 5 orbs to summon a character, after 2 characters summoned with 5 orbs, then it'll drop to 4. Eventually, it'll just get to 1, I'm guessing. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But February 2nd, make sure you pre-register, because for some reason, it's coming to Google Play first. Yeah, here's the weirdest thing. It's coming to Google Play first, and then coming to Apple devices later. This is the exact opposite problem we have with Super Mario Run, where Super Mario Run came out on Apple devices, and it hasn't released on Android yet. And yet here, it's releasing on Android first, and then not releasing on Apple. What? Why is there a problem then? Why do we have to wait for Super Mario Run? And why do Apple users have to wait for Fire Emblem Heroes? That just doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, Fire Emblem Warriors, they did show off some stuff, but not a whole lot. They provided an extended version of the original Nintendo Switch presentation trailer. By extended, I mean there's 20 seconds of gameplay without a HUD, and it's just CROM gameplay, and that's it. So if you didn't catch the Direct, but you wanted to see Fire Emblem Warriors stuff, don't even bother. It's just CROM gameplay, that's it. The only thing they really announced is that it's coming in the fall, which is, yes, thank you for that. And the game is getting a new 3DS version. Again, why? Here it makes even less sense. Because it's coming out, with the Gaiden remake. It was at least only coming out on 3DS. Here, it's 3DS and Switch. Why? The new 3DS... By the way, I should mention it's a new 3DS exclusive. So if you have an old 3DS, you can't play the game. But why would you want to play it on 3DS in the first place? I mean, why not just get it on Switch? There's 2 main things I want to point out here. 1, remember Hyrule Warriors Legends, the 3DS version of Zelda? Or, the 3DS version of Zelda, no. The 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors? You needed a new 3DS to, so the game would run better. So the game would run faster and wouldn't lag as much. But it still lagged, and they still had to limit some things because of that. Almost to the point where they might as well not even have bothered. But they did bother, so I'm going to get it eventually. You know how I am, except you don't. But here it's just the Switch is also portable, and it's more powerful. So why would you make a new 3DS version? Were you planning on making a Wii U and 3DS versions? Is that it? And then you ran out of time, and the Switch was... And you found out the Switch was coming out, and so you just upscaled the Wii U version to be on Switch? Is that it? How much you want to bet what I just said is exactly what happened? I doubt it, but still... That's the only reason that there should be a Switch and 3DS versions, because otherwise there's no point. There is no point in having a 3DS version as well as a Switch version, because the Switch is just better. The Switch has better hardware and it can be taken on the go. You know? So why even bother with the new 3DS? Plus, it's a new 3DS exclusive, meaning that, like I said earlier, if you have an old 3DS, you can't play the game. I will give them this, though. This is the second new 3DS exclusive game. The second new 3DS exclusive. If you can't remember, the first was Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Back in 2015. That was the first one, and this is the second. Way to market your better hardware, Nintendo. Give us 2 exclusive games for it, and that's it. I mean, yeah, better hardware, you know, faster processing and browsing and stuff, and built-in amiibo support, but that's it. I mean, I did get a new 3DS, but that's because I was going to upgrade anyway. I had an original 3DS, and I wanted a bigger screen, and I thought, well, I guess the new 3DS is coming out, might as well just get that instead. So, yeah, that's just... Sometimes I question the new 3DS's existence, but... Anyways, enough about that. The last thing that they mentioned... Well, it wasn't the last thing, but still. One of the things that they mentioned in the Direct is that there is a brand new full-scale Fire Emblem game. Not a remake, not a port, nothing. It is a brand new Fire Emblem game coming to the Nintendo Switch. Some people were saying it's unlikely that that would have gotten announced, but it did get announced. It's gonna be so good. And hopefully it won't come in 2 versions this time. Especially due to better hardware, they shouldn't really have to worry about that, but still. Oh god. Sorry about that. Brand new full-scale Fire Emblem game coming to the Switch. Yes! Thank you. Now, sadly, it's not going to get here until 2018, but still, that's awesome. And I don't even have Awakening Your Fates yet. The only Fire Emblem game I own is the one on GBA through Virtual Console. The first GBA one, just called Fire Emblem, that was released in the States. There are a few Fire Emblem games I want to play. Awakening Fates, I want to play the Radiance games with Ike. Actually, that's about it. I want to get into this series, but there's not a whole lot of opportunities. Because Radiant Dawn, Path of Radiance, those are ridiculously priced. If you've seen the prices for those games on Amazon or eBay, it's just ridiculous. It's, oh my god. If you see a top 10 rarest games list, the only reason that isn't there is because it's not very well known. I really wish I want to get that game without having to, like, emulate it. Just because I want it to be a legitimate copy. And plus, I don't have my computer isn't good enough to handle Dolphin. Might be able to handle N64, but it might not be able to handle GameCube. Only I could run emulators on consoles. Well, like, emulators like Dolphin and stuff. Not so much NES emulators and other things like that. Not so concerned about that. But who knows? Maybe in the future they're going to bring, through Virtual Console, they'll bring back, like, Wii Virtual Console, the Wii downloadable games that were available on Wii U. They'll bring those back, they'll add to it. And, maybe with the Wii games, instead of having to get a Wiimote nunchuck and sync it, just find a way to map the buttons to the Joy-Cons. That would be pretty great. You know, if that were to happen. You just have, like, the left Joy-Con act like the nunchuck, and then the right Joy-Con can act like the Wiimote. Find a way to do that. Just have, like, the A, B buttons. You have, like, the ZRVB or something. Or just maybe provide a way to sync Wii remotes to the Switch. But You know, maybe they could have that. Maybe they could have GameCube Virtual Console. I mean, they most likely are going to bring back N64, SNES, and NES Virtual Console, as well as GBA. And possibly, since it's a portable system as well, they might bring back original Game Boy Virtual Console, because that was on the 3DS, but that was not on console. Original Game Boy Virtual Console was not available on Wii U, so maybe they'll bring that to the Switch. You know, maybe they'll add, like, GameCube Virtual Console. Maybe we'll see Wii U Virtual Console, though I really doubt that. If Wii U games get on Switch, it's either through remasters or ports, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or they're just simply not going to do it. Or who knows, maybe they'll do, like, Xbox One and have the backwards compatibility, like, on there. You know, I'm getting way too off topic, but still, this Direct was pretty great. I kind of wish it was longer, but there wasn't too much to talk about in the first place. I mean, in summary, we got the mobile game, information on the mobile game, which I did pre-register for already. Fire Emblem on the Switch, which is going to be really cool. And it's going to look really nice, too, because now we won't have to deal with the high-quality cutscenes being downscaled for a lower-quality system. Now the cutscenes are going to be at least in 720p HD, in the tablet mode, so that's definitely going to be a game I want to bring around, like when I go various places, like on vacation or whatever. Fire Emblem Warriors info, and we also got the Fire Emblem Gaiden remake. So yeah, overall I'd say this was a pretty good Direct. Quite a bit of new information and games for Fire Emblem fans, and who knows, maybe this information is going to be able to tie a lot of people into getting into Fire Emblem with all these new games and stuff coming out for it. You know, people who didn't get some of the older games, maybe they can bring those to Virtual Console, or maybe they could get into the series through these new games. You know, maybe if they keep doing remakes like Gaiden on Switch and 3DS, because apparently the 3DS isn't dead, they could get a lot of people who never got into Fire Emblem through the older games, and get them into the series now. You know, me, I'm mostly a fan of the newer games because the older games are not released in the States. Well, some of them are, but not all of them. But I do want Awakening, I do want Fates, I'm gonna want Fire Emblem Warriors. I still want Hyrule Warriors, I don't even have that. Or Hyrule Warriors Legends. It's so weird. It's so hard to say Hyrule. I never said Hyrule as much as I did before Hyrule Warriors came out. Or when Fire Emblem Hyrule Warriors Emblem Warriors. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I think it's about time we end the discussion. So that's my thoughts on the Fire Emblem Direct. Cool stuff there. And, well, that's all I really have to say. So, see you guys next time for whenever, here on my channel. Goodbye. Thankfully, I didn't have to do any pauses or cuts this time.